this setup.
Wow. It is fucking awesome to be here. Thank you guys so much for this. We are officially live for the first time ever with Joe and Alexis from the RelationSH show, which if you guys haven't seen that show, it is fucking hilarious. Highly recommend checking it out. And they have kindly agreed to let me read their astrology and give some life guidance. And we don't really know where, like I guess they're so desperate they're letting me read their star charts is basically what's going on here. So here's what I want to do for you guys. Basically the premise of this is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of laughs. We're going to drink some kombucha. At least that's what I think this is.
Wine.
Ceremonial grace.
Ceremonial grace. That's actually wine from Alexis, so. Super good. Homemade, just kidding, it's Health Aid kombucha. And we are going to...
Sponsor me.
Sponsor both programs.
Please sponsor us. We need sponsors. So basically I want to give you guys like really simple, easy direction on how to discover like your life purpose, where you're headed in life, where you should be headed, where you might want to desire to head but not really be clear on that yet, how the world sees you as a person and as your energy, and how your mind actually thinks. And we'll even dive into some, drumroll please, relationship compatibility.
Oh no!
Dun dun dun!
And this is the final episode of RelationSH.
Yes.
This is how it all ends.
All right.
Through astrology.
I'm keeping the ring.
We're engaged, as a side note.
As a side note, they're engaged, and we're going to be going to some epic astrology. So you guys ready?
I'm so ready.
Very ready.
All right. So who wants to go first? First of all,
Let him
Joe.
go.
Let's go with Joe first. And Joe, what do you want to know from your star chart?
I mean, everything.
Okay.
Just we're getting more in depth. For those who don't know, Brandon has gotten me on this train of learning piece by piece a little bit more of my chart from north nodes to south nodes to rising signs to moon to Chiron.
Chiron. You gotta get Chiron in
You
there.
gotta get Chiron in there. So just getting more familiar with all that, like how the pieces all fit. Because I know we were kind of talking about it earlier in the week, how like different things can kind of relate depending on the characteristics.
Totally, yeah. So Joe has been like delving into astrology, and he's actually a really talented astrologer. And he always comes to me and he has like these bits and pieces of his chart that's coming together. And what I like to do is bring it all together into one cohesive picture. So you guys know like where you're actually, like how does this fit together in my life that's actually in reality happening right now? And how can it serve you right now? So just kind of give you like a general overview so far. And then if you have any questions along the way, just interrupt me and we'll talk about it.
Perfect.
How does that sound?
That sounds good.
Okay. So, there are three major aspects that we're going to go over first and foremost about Joe and Alexis's chart. The first one is the sun sign. Sun sign, most of you guys are familiar, it's your basic individual identity and energy. It's kind of like your egoic energy from your mind that's been with you ever since you were a child, that really stays with you throughout your entire life. It doesn't really change much. But it's not really the one that most people identify with the most or that other people see you as the most. So it's kind of like this basic layer of individuality that's there, but then it's much more highly complex than that. Okay, but it is important to know. There's the sun sign. The rising sign, which most people aren't actually familiar with, is the sign that the world perceives you as. So the world sees you as what your rising sign is, and other astrologers also say you're evolving into your rising sign.
Interesting.
So as you progress throughout life, you're going to become more and more like your rising sign.
And where does that relate to being the sun? Because everyone refers, or
Their north node.
no, but well, yeah, that. But then, what am I thinking of? Not rising. What, like my Libra? What's that?
Your Libra is your sun sign.
Yeah.
Okay. But rising is Scorpio.
Scorpio.
So what's the importance of Libra then if I'm trying to grow into Scorpio or rising?
So the importance of Libra for you, since that's Joe's sun sign is Libra, is basically that will always be a basic, essential part of your nature. You can never escape your Libra-ness. Like it is what defines you as a soul. But you don't have to necessarily represent that your entire life or choose to act in that way or like evolve into that. Like it's just going to be part of you whether you want it to or not.
Okay.
Whereas the rising sign, you are actually, as you go out throughout life, like evolving and progressing more so into that type of energy and opening that energy up within yourself and for the world to see. And the reason why that's important is because that is how the world perceives you as. So the more you act in alignment with that, the more you've actually progressed on your spiritual path.
So how is that different from a north node?
Good question. So North Node is basically the choice that your soul made before you incarnated and what you wanted to experience in this lifetime. Yeah.
Okay.
Whereas the rising sign is more of an identity that you become as you choose to experience those things.
Oh man.
Does that make sense?
I'm gonna be some kind of transgender
Oh boy. Oh boy.
The last major aspect we'll go over is the moon sign. So the moon sign is your unconscious reality. It's your subconscious mind. It's the way that your mind actually perceives the world around you. And it's like your lens that you see the world through. And it's your deepest, most hidden parts of yourself that most of the world can't really see, but you identify as most strongly. And how you actually, again, can perceive the world. And that's your moon sign.
Okay.
Cool? So any questions so far about any of this stuff?
I'm good.
I don't know. I don't know
Cool.
yet.
Well, let's dive in. So let's see. So what do we got? So we got, by the way, this is charts we have from cafeastrology.com. So if you guys want to get your charts done and get a really basic description of what's going on, go to cafeastrology.com. You can go to create a new chart in the free astrology reports, and you just have to know your birth time, your birth date, and location. You can get this all done. And it even gives you like a basic reading, so if you guys can start to understand more. So Joe, with your sun, okay, so your sun's in Libra first and foremost. This is what you were already familiar with, but it's also in the 11th house in Libra. And so what that tells me, 11th house is all having to do with like organizations, groups, other people, friends, things and people and organizations in your life that help to bring you into realizing who and what you are, and also help you to progress in life as well. So with your sun in the 11th house, it means that your basic nature is intrinsically tied in with other groups and organizations and things and people that will help you to kind of progress along your soul path. So a lot of your life may be focused around either being a part of these organizations or joining organizations or making an impact of finding out who you are through these other types of entities that come into your life as well.
Okay.
What does that bring up for you, or how does that resonate?
I was just telling someone at my work the other day, they were asking me questions about how I'm in a work environment, and my whole life I've always been a team player. So I'm all about like, how can I make the team as a whole thrive more, as opposed to like, I'm gonna do me and I'm just gonna do everything on my own. I like hugely rely on other people.
Yes.
To get things done.
Totally.
So.
That's like, and because your sun's there, that's like part of your basic essential nature. Like that's a part of you that's, you can't really change. It just is who you are. And so that's going to be a part of your life, like for the rest of your life, is not relying upon, but always being open to and utilizing other people and groups around you in order to help you progress in life and go
I'll
forward.
be curious how that relates to the North Node, because I feel like my North is completely opposite
Precisely.
of that.
Precisely, which we'll get to for sure. Because what's interesting here is that, so we keep bringing up the North and South Node, right? So the North Node, as Alexis pointed out, is where our soul plans on going and the things it plans on experiencing that it's never experienced before in any other lifetime. Okay, so the basic premise of astrology in the North Nodes is that we have multiple lifetimes, we incarnate into these lifetimes, and we have a plan. We have a plan as to where we want to go and what we want to experience. And the North Node shows where we're going throughout our life and what we plan to experience. However, here's the basic premise. It's always uncomfortable. It's always uncomfortable because we've never experienced that part. So when we're moving throughout life and where these events and things are happening to us and we're being shoved a different way and we don't like it, it's like, if we know where our North Node is at, we can know whether those things are in alignment with what we chose to experience, if they're good, if they're growth oriented, or if they're not. right? Basically, or if they're throwing us off the path. Okay, so we'll definitely get to the North Node and a little bit here, but I can definitely see like this is where you're comfortable.
Yeah.
This is where you're at home with other people and friends and organizations and like things supporting you in that way, and it's a very natural part of you. Never forget that, but just know that if you're going to grow in this lifetime, it's going to be moving into the polar opposite of that, which we'll focus on a little bit later. Okay, so that's your sun sign situation, and then the rising sign is in Scorpio. Okay, so boom. So a question here is for Alexis actually, because these two are engaged, and by the way, congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
That was a recent thing that happened, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it could end today. And if you tell me it's not
my
gonna work
bags.
out.
Alexis is patiently waiting for the relationship compatibility part.
Yeah.
She's like, tell me if this is right.
Yeah.
So, a question for you, Alexis. Have you, so we know about Joe's Libra basic nature,
Yes.
friendly with people and helping other
Indecisive AF.
people. Indecisive ass Libras, for sure.
So I'm surprised he decided on me.
Oh.
You're just such a bold choice. You helped me come into my Aries North
Oh,
Node.
wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
Astrological sweet talker. I like it.
Oh, schmoozer.
Baby, you help me with my North Node. You're so
You enhance my North Node.
Ooh, I want to show you my moon sign tonight.
I'm so using this. This is so good. So Alexis, knowing that Joe has a Scorpio rising, which is the sign that other people perceive him to be, and the sign that he's evolving into as he grows, how have you perceived Joe to be a Scorpio? What Scorpionic tendencies have you observed in Joe? Scorpio being like really intense, feisty, almost aggressive nature, where it's like really focused and targeted and like intense and all about death and transformation and rebirth and like rising from the ashes and.
Oh God. Well, he's definitely a Scorpio to me when he's focused on either a book he's reading or listening to a podcast. I'll be like, hey babe, I'm home. He's like, go away. He's very focused, and I don't know if this is a Scorpio tendency, but when people first meet him, he's not exactly warm and open and welcoming. He's kind of just like standoffish in the corner and no one wants to talk to him.
I'm very chameleon, so when I first meet you, if I don't feel like I can put you into a category in my mind space of where can I be myself, can I not be myself, so I just play it safe and I just kind of wallflower and just feel it out. And then if I feel comfortable, then you get the whole me. But if I'm not, I'm kind of reserved.
Even when I first met him, I was like, oh, this guy's just a gym douche and he can care less about anything. And I had to break down that Scorpio. And here we are.
That is so cool. And so thank you for answering that. And what I see in this reflects that perfectly, because I see, so Mercury is the sign, is the planet of your mind. And the way your mind thinks, the logic behind it, the focus that it has, the business orientation, the way that you communicate. And Mercury is in his rising sign of Scorpio, conjunct or at least really close to Pluto. And so what that suggests is Joe's intensity may come from his mind, or some facet of business thinking, or like focus on personal development, or transformation through personal development, or communication, or some aspect of that. And then it also suggests like a very, intense mind for sure, but it's like, this is almost, you see where this is sitting? Like this is sitting right on the gateway, the bridge between his Libra and his Scorpio, his mind.
That's Pluto.
This is Pluto here in Scorpio. This is Mercury,
Mercury.
which is conjunct Pluto.
And what does Pluto represent?
Pluto represents, it's the home planet, it's a ruling planet of Scorpio.
Okay.
So it's the planet of death, transformation, sudden rebirth, like sudden change in life.
Okay.
And so what this suggests is basically your mind is the filter to see if someone's able to access, right, all of your essential nature, which is the friendly people side, like Libra nature, all those types of things. But it also suggests like a very focused, intense mind, focused on rebirth and transformation in some way, in all respects.
Okay. So that explains why I'm filtering people.
Precisely, because you're looking to see like, you're looking to see if this person is in some way, shape, or form able to or willing to, like, I guess the word is grow or transform or like be someone who can help you out on the initiative. Yeah. Does that resonate?
Like someone that can help, that can make me better and grow versus like.
So you're just using people to become better. Great.
I'm just coercing people left and right.
And it's also like it's a very black and white with you too, is the thing I'm sensing. Where it's like, because the Pluto is like, it's either is or it isn't. It's like, is this person gonna help me like transform or are they not?
Yeah.
And it's like that filter right there, you know?
Well, I find it's, because for me, I'm sure it's with everyone, if we're going back to the Libra and you feel comfortable with people, I'd imagine that's what everyone wants, to feel comfortable with people. And if I don't feel like I can be comfortable with you, then I just kind of see it as, how can I grow if I just don't feel comfortable around you at all? So that's kind of how I've been bringing it down in my mind.
Yeah, how can you feel comfortable if they're not willing to grow?
Yeah.
Or if you're not.
Or like, like I feel like I can't grow if I don't feel comfortable around them because I'm not myself and I'm being someone else.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's interesting. If you can't feel comfortable around them, you can't grow.
Yeah.
I see.
Because then I end up I'm very good at putting on masks. And again, chameleon, I'll be someone else, just to people please, back to the Libra. If I just feel like, okay, I can't read them, or we're just two totally different people, but I've got to, be in this space with them for now, so I'll just kind of mimic and see what happens.
That's interesting. But then there's that aspect of like, if someone can and is willing to like help you grow, then you can like give that full expression of what you are. Yeah. That's that gateway there. It's a powerful, like your mind is a powerful, and this is important too for you, because your mind, what this is showing me is like, this is a very accurate and powerful and decisive filter for people. And you're probably really able to like hone in and sense if this person is going to be for you and your growth, and you can allow yourself to be comfortable around them, or you can't. And when you can't, what this is showing me is like, there's no need to even bother with them. Like it's just like, you got to keep moving on and find people who are really in your tribe.
Yeah.
Cool. And then the last aspect here is the moon sign. So the moon sign, to add this whole other thing, right? Oh, by the way, so that was all the rising sign. So rising sign basically means like, the more Joe can step into his power, his energetic power and mind filter of like allowing the right types of people into his life who are going to help him transform and move into the steps that he needs to move into, the more he's going to grow. Because it is all about Joe with people, right, and organizations and things. But he, at the same time, he cannot, and his chart will not allow him to let people in who are not conducive to that. And so Joe just has to remain strong in his knowledge of like, you're not going to serve me, you don't want to serve me, you can't serve me, therefore I don't need or want to waste time with you, unfortunately. So you can create space for the people who will. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why your scorpionic tendencies coming out the most.
Although I will say, because of my Libra always being diplomatic and people-pleasing, I never really like excommunicate anyone. I might talk to them less, but I always tend to be friendly with everyone.
Totally.
On some level. Yeah.
And that's totally fine, as long as those people don't take your friendliness as an invitation to like be in your life more.
Yeah.
Right? At some point, seeing this, like, I'm sure you've been able to, or you've come up with some way to like put some type of boundary on people, whether that's just like not spending time with them, or like, some other method like that.
Yeah.
And then the moon sign, which is Joe's unconscious reality, or how he perceives the world subjectively, is here in Sagittarius, which is also conjunct Saturn, and it's got Uranus sitting there as well, in the second house. So one thing right off the bat is like, to you, security and like material wealth and the things that you need in order to provide like safety and health and just like security for the long term is really important to you. Like that's a vital thing for you. If you don't have that, you can't really feel.
I'm always anxious about it. Let's put it that way.
You're always anxious about it.
About like, I need to want a steady, I don't want to say steady job because I do our podcast and everything, and I'm always doing weird ventures like that. But in the back of my mind, I'm always like, I need to make more money. I need to do this. Am I safe here? Am I safe there?
Or am I safe here?
Yeah.
Am I safe there? Yeah. And the reason I say the second house is all about like security and worldly presence and world accumulation. And with your moon there, that's showing me like your mind is always going to have a concern about that. And so if that's not settled or if that's not sure, that's going to cause you your anxiety, right?
You're safe here, baby love.
This is my sugar mama. My sugar mama.
Tauruses love expensive things and making sure the home is all set.
Ooh.
So I'll be responsible for you.
Yeah.
There we go.
Wait, so that brings me to the question, because I know you had something to say about that, Alexis. So you're a Taurus, which is the same sign as in the second house. Like that's the sign that rules the second house.
Oh.
So you guys are related in that, by the way. Like that is a mutual concern.
I hope we're not related.
Like, oh, yeah.
Just kidding.
So what do you think about Joe's kind of tendencies towards that, or what has he shown you in that regard about the material wealth and security and all those types of things?
I mean, he likes the things that I do when it comes to material wealth, and then I decorate the house and try to make everything fancy, and so
It balances out nicely because I'm willing, I know it's kind of contradicts that, I'm willing to take a little bit more risks, but then she's like, becomes that safety
I'm the
net because she
base.
likes security.
Yeah.
She
I'm
likes,
scheduled.
very
I'm
scheduled.
Yeah. My worst fear in life is to not have like a clean, nice, safe home.
and I'm scattered everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
we're joking, but I can't even start on time. She's old now. Get over there.
Yeah.
Totally. And I think that's, you guys almost complete each other in that way. Like you're able to do more because of her. You're able to feel
I
more
make
secure.
you grow.
There we go.
You're using me.
That's right, you're in my circle now.
That's how
Oh
it
my
works.
god. Oh my god. Once you can't use me anymore, you're just gonna kick me to the curb.
I'll keep you around.
God.
God. The other thing to suggest, so you've got Saturn with your moon in the second house, and you've got Uranus there as well. And so Saturn is the planet of like hard knocks and discipline and like lessons that come through and like, you know, making one step at a time, kind of that hardness to it, right? That like old man with a cane discipline knock you over the head until you learn the lesson right. And so what that suggests to me is that your mind is also prone to viewing the world like that, or you may think or feel that like you can't receive something unless you earn it, or that the world works like you have to go through your hard knocks first before you can receive stuff. Yeah, so talk about that.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How so?
I very much have like imposter syndrome, and just like everything that I do has to be earned. If I get lucky with stuff, I feel super guilty about things. And I'm like, I don't know if I deserve this yet. Especially if I see like other people doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason I luck out, I'm like, oh, this is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Does that? It's interesting. Do you tend to receive a lot of things in your life that come freely, and that causes the guilt?
It's here and there. It's like random things. There's no like set pattern necessarily. I'll just have moments where I luck out, and I'm just like, how did this just happen? Like it's like one of those just lucky breaks.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, ooh, I feel guilty.
Yeah.
And I can never just take it and be like, all right, I deserve this.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because like Taurus again, like, or the second house, right? Like they enjoy these types of things, but they also have that kind of Saturnian feel where they're like, yeah, but did I really earn or deserve to get this? Or is that really something that I can have? Like they're very practical. Like they're very practical, and they're like, does this make sense that I can receive this, or is this just like nonsense?
Yeah.
Or did I really deserve that? But Uranus here is interesting because Uranus is the planet of like random spontaneity and like individuality and people, and it's also like your individual inventions and like your electrified like spontaneous nature. And so what this suggests to me in the second house is that the second house being the thing of like material wealth and security and like things to keep you like in survival. Like you probably received a lot of things spontaneously or randomly from and with people that came into your life that will help you like keep you secure and alive, or give you more material wealth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's basically how it happens.
Just randomly, like
I
spontaneously.
like this one.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh, you
boy.
what?
Oh gosh. No, it's not my turn.
Get it.
Let's see. I want to see where. Ooh.
Oh,
this is good.
Uh-oh.
Where's the bitch sign? I'm gonna guess Scorpio. My South Node is a Leo. That's where the arrogance comes from.
You actually do have your rising. Wow. Have you guys seen the similarities here?
We're both Scorpio rising.
Yeah, you're both Scorpio rising, and you both have Pluto in Scorpio, which is really cool.
Is Pluto a sexual planet?
It definitely is.
Okay.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Uh-huh.
I would have figured Uranus.
Oh my god.
You had to get a Uranus.
I need Uranus.
No, you guys are awesome. So
Okay, tell me.
you guys both have there's aspects about you that are super intense. Alexis a little bit more so than Joe because that's how her mind actually thinks and feels. And then it is a very sexual planet, deep, sexual, sensual, intense planet. You know what I mean? It's all about. And then you got Lilith in there.
Lilith? Isn't that the devil?
Kind of.
Oh!
The devil in you.
So Lilith is this badass, feminine warrior archetype that's don't need no man, I can do this all myself, I'm a badass, I can keep men tame, you know what I mean?
Don't get in my way.
Sorry.
So this is interesting, right? Because that's mostly all you and your mind right there, very intense. But what I was going at is that your North Node is in Aquarius.
Yes.
Okay. So the more that you actually progress in your life and experience things that you want to experience, the more you actually may help Joe receive the things that he needs in his material security in life.
Oh no, that's the podcast.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I don't deserve it.
This is super cool because your guys' growth is tied in with each other. Actually, your safety and security and wealth and ability to survive and enjoy life is dependent upon your growth. It's dependent upon you going in life.
So I know I'm a Taurus and I'm a homebody. I don't like to be around anyone. I just want to stay home and have pretty things surrounding me. But Aquarius wants to have friends and I don't want them.
That is super
Sorry
funny.
to all my friends, I want you. It's from afar.
Well, what's interesting is you've got an Aquarius, but you've got it in the 4th house.
Okay.
Which, do you know what the 4th house is?
No idea.
House of home.
So that's why I like to only have people come here.
Yes.
Oh.
I don't like to go there.
Guess we're hosting
Every day.
every day.
Yeah, and the more you're able to do that, I see you hosting home gatherings with really cool idealistic people where you're able to chat about how you can change the world or create a more ideal society or this is tied in. The more you do that with really good people, the more that you will actually grow and progress towards your life.
And then you'll grow.
And then
you'll receive.
And
your
then you
security
won't be
wealth.
homeless on the streets.
I'll see the benefits from that. I'll be Johnny.
Great. It'll make you not be a Scorpio asshole when they first meet you.
I'll just be on the wall. Who are these people?
This is so funny. Interesting. Okay, what else do we have here? And I guess it's time to talk about the North Node.
Woo!
For you, the North Node. So this is, and I know you've been super curious about this and diving into it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have, because it's so opposite of my sun.
It's so opposite. And the thing about the North Node is, the way I like to think of it is, this is where and how the universe is directing you towards your growth. And so it's those random coincidences that you experience in life sometimes that kind of lead you towards that next step that you didn't even know was possible there. This is the North Node in action, right? And it's not always the most comfortable. So with Joe's North Node being in the 5th house in Aries, just almost bordering on Pisces actually, which is pretty close to Pisces. So what this suggests is Joe is coming into his individual power and boldness. His ability to actually shine and be bright and be powerful and be expressive through his own individual identity, which is the complete opposite of where we just spoke about, which is you being comfortable, right? Being comfortable mostly around and with other people and allowing other people to kind of dictate who and what you are. It's about you finding yourself, your individual self and your power, and through that your ability to express that power to the world, which is where you're going in life. So what do you experience in life that has helped you to lead more closely towards that?
Well, the funny thing about that is like, everyone always talks about, and it sounds cliche to talk about, like, oh, I always feel like I was meant for something more. But the thing is, I've always gotten that, but in that sense where it's like, it's not exactly like, oh, I gotta stop people pleasing, I gotta stand out, but I always, no matter, every time I do something super safe and very Libra-like, and I go too hard into it, I'm gonna guess it's my Aries coming out, but there's another part of me that's like, you need to be doing something like a little more powerful than this. Like you keep doing safe type stuff, you gotta do this. And I always just thought it was like a cliche thing everyone went through. But yeah.
No, not at all. That's your North Node speaking to you.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will actually have this naturally. Like I'm sure you perceive people who are like out there effortlessly and speaking their truth and like in their power, right?
This
My
one
Lilith.
here.
You've seen
Oh
that,
my God.
and it's like she has a different path there than you, and it's not everyone has that feeling like, okay, when they're safe, they need to be out more, or they have a tendency to be safe. Like that's a very unique calling that you're receiving there. So. And it also suggests that this is having to do around creativity as well, because it's so close to Pisces and it's in the 5th house, which is 5th house is like creativity, creative expression, fun, enjoyment, like like personal and creative expression through enjoyment and fun, and even like relaxation to some extent. What type of creative expression or endeavor do you feel that this would take place in for you?
Me and our podcast is a big thing I've been working on right now. It's been my most creative endeavor.
Yeah.
I'm very
that's the thing.
supportive of it.
For those who don't know, we have a podcast called RelationSH on iTunes, Spotify, everything. Just make sure you do the
Shout
asterisk
out.
on the I to find it.
Yes.
Originally, I had it as like a self-growth podcast, which you've been on.
Yes.
And it was just me kind of interviewing people, seeing like how they're getting to their journey to where they want to be. And then I was like, and it kind of like ties all this in together, what you've said so far. A part of me was like, I want to incorporate her into stuff more, especially on the creative side, because then it allows us to do stuff together,
Yes.
which I was hoping would only help the relationship, which I think it has. But she was initially
50-50.
resistant.
I'm still resistant.
Still resistant, but I keep feeling like this, if we can get this to work and really find its momentum, it could be something bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. And question for you, is there anything that's even more solo driven that you'd be doing like purely on your own that has called you in the past?
I mean, I was doing like comedy stuff in general. I was doing like stand-up and improv and everything like that, but I kind of had to let it go to pursue something a little more realistic. We've all been through that. So I was doing that, and there's always, that comedy side always calls me down below. Like, I was
Down
saying before with the
below?
Aries, like deep inside.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
That's
I just
it.
haven't like, I try to use the podcast as a way to release that, but it definitely like, I usually let it out at work and stuff and just do silly stuff and
Yeah.
yeah.
Totally. I'm just feeling here from what you're saying, and I know you pretty well, known Joe for a few years now. Like, I feel like comedy is going to be your like soul's calling. Like you
That would be ideal.
out there, yeah, like on your own, like because comedy is exactly what the 5th house is. It's like expression and creativity through like enjoyment and fun. That is like 5th house, right?
I just love making people laugh.
That's it?
That's what makes me feel the richest. Like when I used to get up on stage and do stand up, huge anxiety leading up. But once the laughs start coming in and I'm feeling good and comfortable, it's like the biggest high.
Yeah.
So
That's your destiny. Yeah, it's very clear that that's it. That's it right there. And the other thing is that's super exciting. So Joe's North Node in the 5th house in Aries, bordering Pisces, and he's got Jupiter, which is the planet of fortune, expansion, good luck, or not material wealth, but wealth in general, right? Abundance, is also in Aries, in the same sign as the North Node, in the 6th house. So what that suggests is that the more that you move towards your individual, bold, but creative and enjoyable expression, the more personal wealth and abundance will come your way without having to rely on anything or anyone else.
ooh.
I'm good with that.
So then what happens if it stacks all together? We do the podcast, grow it, get
Then
the
you
comedy
can
in
become a
there,
comedian and I can just live at home and be rich off you.
and invite people over.
Well, we'll see.
North Node is not always the easiest to follow, as you guys can see here. Okay, so let's finish up Joe's with his relationship compatibility here. So relationship compatibility for men in their charts is by looking at the planet Venus. Okay, so Joe's Venus, interestingly, is in Libra, and it's in the 12th house actually. So what that suggests is that he actually likes someone who has a lot of similar traits to him, who is also very charming and very good with people, but also like has a depth to them and has like a softness to them and a nurturing side of them, to them that can help to heal or take care of or in some way support, right? It's a very watery. And so if we look here at Alexis's chart, first of all, let's just bounce that here. So how's that sounding off the bat? Your face doesn't look so...
I think so nurturing.
Yeah, I like to do all the like mom things. That sounds
The
creepy.
nurturing
but
side, yes, in terms of us. The part where it differs is we're not necessarily into the same stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then what about like the people side, like the social people side?
I'm very social from the beginning. I'm always very excited and I want to talk to everyone. I just keep everyone away though.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you've got that side that's able to...
Everyone thinks I'm the friendliest fucking person in the world.
It is.
Yeah.
She's very easily sociable. So where my Scorpio is just like, oh, I gotta feel people out, she'll just enter the room and it immediately grabs attention. People
I'll be at the grocery store, someone will start telling me about their divorce and I'm like, okay honey, wow, okay, what?
People just like
They want to tell me all their secrets. I don't understand why I just open up their souls, which is great, but I'm like, okay, well that's enough. I'm gonna go back to my house with my dog and get drunk alone.
It's that charm.
There is the charm. What's interesting here too is that, so Alexis, because you guys have the same rising sign, your Libra is also in the 12th house, and where's your Mars at? Let's see. Your Mars is in Pisces. Ooh.
Pisces is my favorite person to date.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean.
But let's see here. Because there's no like accidents or coincidences. So the thing is, like, if you guys are doing relationship compatibility and you're looking and you're like, oh, well, Venus is in there or Mars is in there and what's going on, like, there's always a reason. You just have to look a little bit deeper and find out like how it's all like showing up and compatible and things like that. So your Mars is in Pisces in the 5th house as well. And your
Wait, is Mars what I like, or Venus is for men and Mars is what?
For women.
For women. Okay.
So yeah, so Mars is like the type of male energy that you're most attracted to. Let's see what Joe's got. So Joe's basically he's got here Pisces in the 5th, but it's with his North Node. So what this suggests is you are drawn to Joe for his like deep creative aspects, his ability to like be spontaneous and unique and like just lovable and like, very like it's the inner depths that you see and feel in Joe.
She always
and not
wants
the
me
exterior.
to come out of that Scorpio shell more and just go for it, stop caring what other people think.
People always go, how are you with Joe? I don't understand. And I'm like, you don't get to see the Joe that's like singing while he poops and doing weird stuff. I only get to see that, and it took a while for me to get down to there, but it's in there in his soul somewhere. So that's why I like being home too, because when we're alone, he gets to be that weird person. And if we're out with other people, it's like, oh, Joe is...
Bleep, blurp, bleep.
It's not real Joe.
Yeah, that's it.
So then I want to go back home. So you're not helping my Aquarius.
Sorry.
God.
So question, how long have you been doing comedy?
It's hard to say because like I was doing it in plays and stuff since high school, and then I moved out here in 2012 when I first started doing comedy. Then by like 2014, I like tapered down.
Gotcha. And when did you guys meet?
2014.
2014, you tapered down with the comedy.
Yeah, so basically when I met her, I like stopped comedy and all
Yeah.
crazy bold stuff I was doing.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. And how did you guys meet? Was it through anything related to comedy, or like what was the?
He was my trainer, and I wanted to have sex with him.
Yes. There's that Lilith, Pluto,
There's that
and
Lilith.
Moon in Scorpio.
Woo!
Like
I
that's
had one
what.
use for him. I'm the one who asked him out.
Hold up. To be fair.
Oh God.
To be fair, she had to ask me out because of professional courtesy. I didn't want to do it, and then it's awkward because she
Such a
says,
professional.
"You're being weird. I'm your client," and then I get fired for
Yeah.
schmoozing with my clientele.
Okay, fine, fair.
And then when and how did it get deeper for you? After you chose him for like those reasons, right? Which is always
Yeah.
a great reason. Like it's a prominent reason why relationships start. Like when did it be like, actually I see more in this guy and I want, like, what was it about him that you saw?
Well, we both are Filipino, so we have very similar backgrounds and values. And I guess I just saw that he wasn't just a gym douche.
Yeah. Well, what was beyond the gym douche that you saw?
Just this weird, awkward
Started
person.
being weird.
Yeah, he started being really weird, and he was like,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, and he doesn't care that I'm a nut job.
I'd hang out at because her place was close to my gym that I was working at, so I'd spend a lot of times hanging out there with her. So obviously, get used to, once I get comfortable again, getting to know her, then I can just start being myself again.
Yes.
I can be that Joe.
That's it. So this is so interesting, right? Because so the things that you see and are attracted to in Joe are exactly the same things that if and when he unleashes to the world will like fulfill his destiny, make him more successful. And that's what you are continuously reminding and bringing out of him. And that's what it's showing you're attracted to in him, by the way. Because your Mars is in Pisces, which is super close to where his North Node is at. And so it's his creativity in the 5th house, right? Freeness of expression and enjoyment through possibly comedy, which is why I thought you guys might have met somehow through comedy, or that's one aspect you really enjoy about him or being with him. But those two things are closely related, like your deep attraction to him and his fulfillment, basically, in life and his destiny.
That's why she's always saying, just be yourself. Stop
Just-
worrying about other
yeah.
people.
You don't have to be comfortable. If they don't like you, fuck them all.
That's
There
it.
you go.
That is it.
Just be
Fair.
more Lilith.
Be more.
Be
What is
more-
what is Lilith exactly?
Lilith is this archetype of, again, this like feminine, badass warrior. Like I'm picturing this like badass female warrior with like a spear and like a skirt and a top, who's just like
Tits out.
like tits out, like taking heads,
Yeah.
like,
Xena
just-
warrior princess.
like taking her men for her, like just like not even giving a fuck at
Yeah,
all. which is-
Daenerys before she went nuts. Maybe when she went nuts too. I don't know.
Yes, for sure. Or like, who's another badass warrior in Game of Thrones? You guys can.
Arya.
Arya.
But, oh yeah, she got sexual.
She did. And she was the one, as you saw, who like progressed into Gendry sexually. She's
Yes.
like, she was
Yes.
like, I'm taking this no matter what.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I want it right
Joe
now.
knows that.
Very cool, very cool. Okay, any questions about anything so far? This is like awesome how we've been able to circle this all
So we
around.
were talking about the moon a little bit. But I don't think we got into like it being Sagittarius.
Yeah, that's right. We completely missed the sign it was in. So Sagittarius again is like the sign. It's the sign that rules Jupiter, or Jupiter rules Sagittarius. And Jupiter, everything that is basically expansion, wealth, fortune, abundance, prosperity, luck. Sagittarius is also prone to being a teacher. The teacher, the wise sage, the learned person, and the person who can like bestow his or her knowledge to the world to help them expand and grow in every single way.
Tim is Sagittarius on any level.
Tim, I haven't looked at his chart too deeply, but I know he's a Scorpio actually.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, his sun sign's a Scorpio, which I would not have expected, but
Yeah.
I can always predict two sun signs. So what that tells me is basically your mind, right? Besides the whole aspect about, we kind of went into like the material and security and that causing you anxiety, and then the need to like earn it before you can actually have it, but also things spontaneously, randomly coming into your life because of Uranus there. But it also suggests you have an innate tendency or need to learn how the world works, how different facets of the world work, and also a willingness to give and bestow that to others to help them and yourself grow. Like that is just an unconditional, essential nature of the way your mind works. Also, with Saturn being there as well, it may suggest that you are a teacher through like your experience of hard knocks and lessons in your life. And this experience that Saturn is like helping you to go through and understand is how you'll be portraying your lessons of wisdom to the world. Like, I am Joe Tallarico. I've been through all of this. This has been my life path. I've had all this shit thrown at me. I've gone through these lessons, and here's how it can help you. Here's how it can help you grow.
Makes sense. My biggest side passion, I guess you can call it side hobby, is like behavior psychology. I love seeing how people act, how I've interacted with people. That's why I'm Wallflower. So when I first meet people, the thing I'll do in a crowded room is I just love seeing interactions. Oh, how did he interact with her? Why did she respond that way? Why did he approach her that way?
Yeah.
How would I modify that if that was me? And I just like analyze everything so that I know, all right, this is how I have to act to execute this room perfectly.
Oh, and what do you mean by execute?
Like behave, not execute.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that I know like, ooh, she doesn't like it when people talk like that. I know what kind of person she is. Now I know a category to put her in. This is how I'm gonna act to win her over. Oh, this person, oh, he needs something more like that. Ooh, I know what he needs. He needs something like this. Oh, this guy's a little more bold. He needs to be challenged. I'm gonna challenge him a little more. So I just like, I'm not always right, but that's how I look at rooms. I have to know like people's basis. That's why I like hearing about people's past, which is why I did that first version of the podcast. Because then if I know what kind of upbringing you had, then I can be like, all right, I know how to talk to a person like that.
Yeah, and why do you think that you have that need in order to talk to people like that? Like, what's the end game for you when you talk and interact with others?
I think it was for me as a kid, I always felt like I was misunderstood, which I believe that's my Chiron as well. But I always felt like I was misunderstood, where like I would do things where they were trying to be funny or not, and it just like, it didn't always, in my mind, it always went that it didn't go the right way more than it didn't go the right way. So I always felt like, I'm just like, that's why I'm an over-explainer too, because I'm always like, I can explain this better. See your face.
Oh God, his stories will go on forever with no end.
I like trying to think of a caption for like an Instagram post, and I want to make it funny. I'm like,
It's like 7 sentences,
Yeah.
and like an Instagram caption should just be like, a couple
again,
words.
when you feel this way, but I'm like, what if I make it when you feel this way because it's this and that, and like I have to explain the joke, which obviously.
Oh yeah, he loves to explain the joke.
Yeah.
Oh, kills me.
Is there a tendency in all of that, I guess where I'm getting to is like, are you doing this or formulating all this because you think that that's the best way that they can receive it to grow themselves? Or how does that fit?
For sure, I always find I end up befriending the most the people that like other people, I don't want to say reject, but other people kind of tune out. And I always end up like, and people are always like, why are you friends with that person? Or, oh, I'm surprised like you like entertain them that much. And I don't know, it's just like something I've always gravitated to the odd people, odd but fun people, because I've always felt like, I feel like they're being misunderstood. And if you can figure out why they're behaving that way, whether it's rude or weird or funny or strange, and I try to show people, it's like, no, it's not because of that, it's because of this XYZ.
Wow, that does make sense. And that's also, again, where Uranus comes in, because Uranus is the planet of, like, it's the ruling planet of Aquarius, and Aquarius is all about other people who are like idealistic but goofy and unique and weird in that nature. And so your mind is closely related. So it's a super cool aspect, right? Because it's in Sagittarius, all prone about expansion and growth and lessons through Saturn. And then random spontaneous things helping you to gain material wealth. And then also like weird, random, goofy, seemingly like people who you can kind of see through and understand on a deeper level than most other people, and also have like a sympathy for, So that's really cool.
So basically, if you're friends with Joe, he thinks you're weird.
No, that's not true.
I'm
I see
kidding.
there's something really unique about you, and I want to. It's ironic because it's a thing I have to do for myself. Is I see what's special about someone, and I want to get them to like really
Elevate.
double down on that, whereas I'm not even doing that on myself. So.
That's super interesting.
But that ends up kind of benefiting both of us, because if I can help them do it, then obviously I feel comfortable having either helped them or feeling like a kindred spirit, so then I'm more myself. So then we're both, or whoever it is, we're all just crazy funny people.
Yeah, and something you just said there was interesting. Like you can feel comfortable by and through helping them to grow themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's maybe a discomfort or an anxiety created unless you feel like you're helping them to grow?
Yeah, I guess you can say that. I think it's because if I can help them to grow, it means they've let me in, and if they let me in, obviously I can trust the person more if they're willing to let me in and like explain my ways.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and that has to go back with like that energetic filter of Pluto and Scorpio, right? Where it's like if you and them can allow each other to like be in each other's presence, then you might feel like not a need, but not a compulsion, but like a need to help them grow, which will make you feel comfortable, like you've served them properly. Yeah. Something like that. Cool. Awesome. Any other questions that you have that come up?
That's everything. I guess maybe one last thing, the Chiron, if that has a role. We kind of touched on that.
Let's do it. So where is your Chiron? We said it's a Gemini, right?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, so it's maybe not on this chart.
Oh.
Do you know, but you said it's in Gemini for
It's
sure,
in Gemini,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
It's not showing up.
And in Gemini, so you've got that in the 8th house. So Chiron, for you guys who don't know, so it's the archetype of the wounded healer. And the wounded healer represents basically where your soul's most like primally wounded. And it's the main thing that you gotta get to heal as you go throughout life. It's the main focus of how you have been and were hurt. That you kind of get to move and work through and let go of so that you can progress. And it's also related to the North Node in that way, right? So as you work through this primal wound of yours, it will help you to progress towards your life destiny, your soul's destiny in the North Node. And so we can't see on this chart, but Joe says he's here in Gemini in the 8th house, which is really interesting because the 8th house is the house of Scorpio. So 8th house being all about death and transformation and like growth through that transformation and intensity and focus and again like power, like the feeling of darkness and power comes through with Scorpio in 8th house as well. So it's in the 8th house, which is definitely giving it a scorpionic tendency, which may mean that you might be afraid of your own power or afraid of what will happen if you access your own power, or worried about how your power will affect other people in some certain way. Yeah, actually, that makes sense because it's here in Gemini, and Gemini is all about how you're received and interpreted and interacting with other people and how you're actually perceived through your communication and interaction with other people as well. So what I'm getting here with Chiron there in the 8th house in Gemini is basically issues or worry or fear around hurting or scaring people out of the way because of your expression of your own individual darkness and power and integration of that.
Makes sense. I mean, it ultimately comes down to like, I'm afraid if I be myself and it's not accepted, it would not feel comfortable.
Yeah. And what is it, I guess, where does the intensity come into that? Like with you accessing the power that you have underneath or within in regards to other people. Like, was there ever a time in your life where you felt that you were just like overly kind of intrusive or powerful or hurt someone because of your expression of yourself or power or something like that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I hurt myself, or hurt someone else. But I can be.
Or scare
I felt
people
as a
away.
kid, yeah, I would be too intense for people, whether it was through my silliness or whatever. Where they're just like, all right, stop. I'm like, I'm over that. Stop behaving the way you're behaving.
Yeah.
Or like you're taught, especially as a kid, like stop joking around. You gotta be professional. You gotta be very. So I was raised on very much like there's a professional time and there's silly time.
Yeah.
You gotta tone down the silly time, be professional.
Oh.
So that's like something I really, especially like me as a kid, I was like, all right, as an adult, I'm gonna grow up. I can't be silly anymore.
Oh, that's it right there.
Yeah.
That's where I'm sensing it at, because it's your intensity through your individual expression, which we just explained is like comedy and enjoyment, and for Joe, silliness, because he's got, as a kid, he was reprimanded and punished for being that way too much. Like it was too much for other people, and he was told, this is too much, we need you to change into this, and therefore it's almost repressed you into just being that certain way, and being a little bit fearful of actually bringing that out again in full. Even though that, according to this and this, is exactly the way that you get to be and integrate fully now that you're an adult, in order for your life purpose to come to reality.
Yeah. So I'm slowly breaking that down.
Wow. That's
And it wasn't that I wasn't ever allowed to be silly. It was just like there was a time and place for everything. So, and I think it confused me a little as a kid.
Yeah, because you had to section off certain
Yeah.
times in your life.
Yeah.
Instead of
And I'm sure I never grasped the concept of like, how come I have to be this way at this place and this way at this place? Why can't I just be myself in all places?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what you're working towards. I can be myself.
And I think that's what messes me up now, because I'll like start to be myself, and then when I feel like, oh, you're like crossing that border, that be professional kicks in, and then I hold back, and I feel like I can feel it off other people, because then it's almost like, you ever talk to somebody like, I'm getting a weird vibe from, and I feel like people can get a weird vibe from me, and it's probably because they're unknowingly sensing like he's like not being himself, so it's kind of weird now, which ultimately just reiterates the circle, because then it makes me go, oh, this is getting weird. Totally gonna stop.
So for you, it sounds like when you're being fully yourself and like silly and like all that Joe is and your creativity, your expression, when that voice comes into your head, that's like, oh, this is maybe too much, or I'm like throwing people off, or they think I'm being too much. Like that's the voice to kind of like stop and like listen to and be like, is this like something I should really listen to, or is it just like what I've been conditioned to believe? You know?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. It's very clear. Like the more you get to work through that, like the more you're going to be able to go into your North Node, which is your destiny, and where you will be able to receive all that you were meant to receive in terms of your individual power and your expression and your comedy. I keep going back to comedy, man. Like your thing, you're like is going to be out there on stage, like boldly showing your weird self to people, and it's like that's going to be highly rewarded too.
Yeah.
Sought after. So that's awesome, man.
No, you do this on your own.
So what's her story now?
So after all this, what are you most curious about, Alexis?
I don't even know. What am I supposed to do with my life?
What are you supposed to do with your life?
Yeah.
That's an interesting question.
I have to make friends. That's all I've got so far.
That's a big part of it, for sure. So what do you do right now?
I am an operations analyst.
Operations analyst.
Yes.
How do you like that?
I love it.
She loves systems. She likes things
black and white, and I make it go, and there's right and wrong, and it's just what it is.
It is what it is. Black and white. Yeah, interesting.
It's safe. I got my paycheck comes every 2 weeks, safe, everything's great. Got my 401k, good to go.
Yeah, interesting. Huh. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. Sure. So we talked about your rising. We talked about her sun's in Taurus with Mercury close by. So it definitely suggests someone who is like not, the word isn't stubborn, but like staunch and set in her own ways for sure. Like she likes things a certain way. She likes things. She knows what she likes. And if they're not that way, then it could be very frustrating.
The bull comes out.
The bull comes out. Like I have to have it this way. That's a need for me. It's a necessity.
Yeah. If you load the dishwasher wrong, I'll fucking cut you.
She's also Scorpio moon and Scorpio rising.
Oh, so I guess it's not cutting, it's poisoning, stabbing. What does Scorpio do?
I mean, cutting's a great thing, like a great word for Scorpio, but like the Scorpio sting.
I'll sting you. There you go.
If they're not in line with what she knows needs to be the truth, like through her Taurian nature.
So basically, I'm a bull with horns, and then I've got a fucking tail with a fucking scorpion poison to come get you. I'll get you all three.
That is awesome.
And then now I learned about Lilith, and she's some angry sexual being too. So continue.
She definitely is. How is your Venus here? Venus is in Aries.
He's gonna be like, there's no hope for you.
So what would, out of curiosity, what would not be comfortable for you in terms of your career or your dreams or passion?
Podcast.
Something that isn't stable. I hate the podcast because it's like,
She hates anything like entrepreneurial, like
Yeah.
anything that's risks.
yeah,
that has
anything
no
with
meaning.
risk, why would you try when there's already something with a set path that you can go and then you can just make a lot of money and just be safe and then be fine. No stress.
Yeah.
Well, not no stress, but you don't have to think. You just go and you do it and then you have a nice house.
Yeah, and I think that actually feels like it's in really good alignment, and I can't see anything outside of that would point to you needing to be anything other than that. The one thing I see here is that the sign of Capricorn in the third house for you has 3 different planets. It's got Uranus, it's got Neptune.
That, I don't know, that cut off.
Oh shit, let me check that out.
Hold on, pause.
Pause.
Did we reach the maximum,
The longest live ever.
the
I'll
longest
have to read
live
these
ever?
comments.
Yeah, what do we got here?
Any comments? I see we got a bunch.
Whoa.
Hopefully all good things.
Holy shit. Okay, let's get this going again here.
Oh my god, we're already at an hour?
Oh, let's wrap it up here soon. Okay. We're live one more time. Okay. So,
Ah,
so, yeah, this is interesting. And it's all like really bunched up toward the 3rd and 4th house in Aquarius and Capricorn. So,
oh yeah, what's Capricorn? I'm hardworking, yes.
for sure, you're on a path or a progression
Uh-huh.
to somewhere or something, like some goal that you're reaching for, that you need to accomplish. Some journey. What is that journey?
I keep thoughtful.
I don't know about that.
So there, I don't know if still playing to that at all, but there's this idea she's had that.
Don't tell my idea to the world.
She's got fine. I'll just say she's got an idea that I think would be great, but
And
she
it
doesn't want
plays
to do
to
it.
everything that I love. But I don't
Because
want to do it
well,
because
but
it's
it's all
too
risky.
risky. I don't want to quit my job.
Yeah.
And does this idea have to do with something related to like spirituality in some way, or like spirituality and people learning or growing in some way?
Not really.
Not really.
Just me helping people, but not spiritually. I like being an
plan stuff.
If I could be anything for the rest of my life, I would be a personal assistant. I love it so much. I love being a receptionist.
She loves doing chores for other people.
I love chores. I love them so much. They bring me
Which
so
is
much
crazy
peace.
to me, because if there's one thing I hate, it's chores.
I
It's
love
chores.
chores. I love running errands. I love having a list and being like, yeah, check, bitch.
For sure. Let's see where it's in Scorpio as well. North in Aquarius. I'm trying to find out which because the third house basically, so Capricorn's like the sign of like, I'm on a path, I'm on a mission, I'm on a journey, and I'm trying to reach this goal, and I'm going to spend my life like doing that no matter what.
Yeah, chores.
Getting there. But the third house is all about like communication and like communicating ideas and speaking and writing and like also teaching as well and showing that side of yourself. And then we've got Uranus, Neptune, and Saturn in the 3rd house in Capricorn. So those 3 basically combine to be like something around people and or individual expression of people. A little bit of an aspect of like spirituality in there, or like depth, or like creativity, or bringing that out in people. And then you've also got Saturn in there as well, which basically means like it's whatever this is in the 3rd house that's like concentrated there. It's going to be like more of a late. You're going to come into this and open this up a little bit later on in life. It's called like a late bloomer, but and it's also strongly related to like there's some type of mission or task or thing you get to do revolving around communication of ideas, writing, or expression in that way. That's also centered around people and depth, creativity, or spirituality. Like there's something.
I think that's the
It's
idea.
great, yeah. It
It's
is.
great. It's helping people plan stuff out because they're not creative enough to think.
Yeah.
Plan stuff out.
Yeah.
Oh, there. So that's Saturn. So
Okay.
because and you said because why?
Because I like to plan and I execute.
She's just really good at like
And I'm like the greatest
she's
gift
the best
giver.
gift giver. Like she'll take 2 seemingly unmatchable things that you might like. Let's see, like dogs and wrestling. It's like, I would think of how to pair that together, and she'd be like, oh, I'm gonna get you a WWE doggy bed for your dog. And it's like, that's like a cool gift that you'd get if you were a fan of that, and you'd be like, oh my God.
I didn't
that's
even
so
know
cool.
this existed.
Yeah.
Totally. So super unique, weird things that no one's ever seen before that you can bring together and like give. So that's Uranus.
And even
Saturn is the planning and lessons, or like teaching how to like plan things in advance or be super organized in some way. But then there's also this like what does this mean to you? Like with the Neptune in there, right? So that Neptune is basically, it's the ruling planet of Pisces. It's spiritual, it's creative, it's depth oriented, it's intuitive. Like, where does this come in to all this?
I don't know. I just like to make people happy.
Maybe she hasn't come into it yet.
Who knows?
That's interesting.
Because, I mean, I have no idea if this is a thing.
Yeah.
Because if her thing is her South Node was Leo or whatever it was, and that was all about being an individual, and she's got to be more about the people, maybe it's hard for this, because this sounds like it's all about working with people, and if she's still coming into that, I don't know if that like...
That's where I'm seeing, because so we got South Node basically in the midheaven here in Leo. And so basically you are, or you're most comfortable, the essence of you is like really comfortable being in the limelight. Like showing off your stuff, expressing yourself, like being the queen essentially, like of people and being in the public eye, and you're very comfortable with that. You enjoy that, right? You enjoy entertaining people.
Basically, I'm an attention whore.
And where you're moving towards, of course, as Joe was saying, is like more of someone who's a little bit just solely there to not take the credit, not be the one that everyone sees or like gives credit or love to, but like the person that's quietly and just for the sake of their own happiness, giving people the gift of something, like empowering them, helping them see themselves better or plan better, or in a very unique way that also has to do with...
Well, I think she's not giving herself enough credit here, because you're into angel cards, you're into crystals.
I'm very spiritual.
She's been getting a lot of people crystals and stuff as gifts.
I give them all gifts as crystals.
So she's not...
And I tell everyone about their North Node now, and tell them to grow.
She definitely has a spiritual side. She just doesn't put it on broadcast unless someone like is super into it as well.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is, you know why this is interesting? Because I feel like your guys' roles are going to like reverse.
Does that mean I get to stay home?
Possibly. Is that like a deep desire of yours? Truly,
Oh
like,
man,
She loves it.
my
right?
favorite
For her
thing.
weekend,
Oh, it's so bad.
Oh my god.
When I relax, I literally just sit on the couch, and I don't like to go anywhere. I don't want to look at my phone, and I just watch shows about. I just watch HGTV. I'm all about making your home better. While I'm in my home, doing nothing,
Oh my
talking
God.
to no one.
Oh my god.
Let's go out to dinner with friends. Let's
And I
go.
go, but
Yes.
I recorded 7 hours of my favorite home improvement show.
Wow. So this is super cool because that's actually really good for you.
Oh
Super
no.
funny. Because the North, so your North Node is in the 4th house, the house of home, the house of Cancer, which is staying at home,
Yes.
being internal, being
Yes,
nurturing.
I'm
to
in my
yourself.
crab shell.
She also loves to host. Like,
I do.
what was it for?
Game
for,
of
like,
Thrones.
Game of Thrones, super. Like for Game of Thrones, I was just like, let's have
I cooked
people
like
over.
a 5-course meal.
They were themed things that were like Theon Greyjoys and Sansa's lemon tarts. Like it was a whole Game of Thrones themed food.
Yes.
And she cooked all the food surrounding that.
That's literally what you came here to experience. Like to do that and give that gift to other people is what your soul is like moving into toward and like desiring mostly what it wanted to
I can
experience.
stay home forever.
And there's also like this, and I think that's going to be this is why you guys' charts are so intertwined here, because as Joe steps into his personal power and ability to express himself, as a solo identity, a solo powerful individual identity, you will be able to also simultaneously progress into your ability to just be and relax and be internal and host things at the home that also allow you to like give the gift of like also things that are related to like spirituality or like planning, Saturn, right? Or like unique gifts that are come together that are really no one's ever seen before. Like I feel like this is, this whole thing, I knew there was something to this whole section for you This is really
Like
important.
I feel like she's in the first phase of like really embracing that whole section. I think she was so used to whatever what these other things were of just like that bold, again, reverse me, bold, like stand out. And now she's realizing like, oh, I don't want to go out anymore. I want to just stay home. I want to host
It's the
people.
best.
I want to read my cards.
Yes.
All that
Yes.
stuff.
I want to stay home. I'll manage your portfolio and be your manager in life and make sure you invest in your 401k and you go out and
Yes.
be a comedian and live your life.
That's it. Oh, that's
Yeah.
so it. And
That's
this is happening at the
amazing.
same time as you coming into your personal power expression, individual journey. And this, wow. This is it,
There we
guys.
go.
It's crazy.
Wow.
Guess you don't have to break up today.
We'll have to see like in a year how that's come how far that's come.
You guys got some work to do.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You're lucky
Not
just
you.
to stay home. I've got a solar.
You
Cool.
soar. I'll sleep.
Well, that was like a hell of a show. Like, I feel complete. Do you guys have anything else to say?
That's good. That was very thorough.
I feel amazing and I'm ready to stay home and work really hard at that.
I'll just say one last thing, which is like the cool thing about astrology is it's sometimes it can validate the things that we don't know are right for us or like don't even realize are right for us, but we've always really wanted to do, kind of like what Alexis was saying. And I think for Joe, deep down, like that is something that's a desire you have to like go and be that.
Oh, for
you know?
sure.
So it can like show us like, oh, we are on the right path, we are doing the right things, and we get to just do the things we love actually, instead of trying to like make it all happen a different way. So thank you guys again like for this. This
Yeah.
was really fun. I had a blast and hope you guys got something out of it.
Yes, thank you. and
Can I
thank you
say
for
one
coming.
thing?
Please
You're amazing. Number one. Oh God, I'm stealing the limelight again.
do it. Go for
No,
it.
but I want to say because whenever I was just like at the top layer of astrology, I'd Google a guy, or not Google, but like look up a guy's horoscope and be like, oh, we're not compatible. Nope, not happening. But this today just shows you that it's so much deeper than that. There's so many fucking layers, like a Shrek fucking onion, and you need to like look deeper and not just throw away your soulmate because you think he's a douchebag. But if he's a real douchebag, then you should throw him away. Okay, that's it. Woo!
Boom. All right, that's it.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.